All right, let's get her going here. Plenty to chew on. The Real Kyper and Bourne Show.
Never a dull day.
We are live on Sportsnet 360, 590 The Fan in Toronto. Streaming always on Sportsnet Plus. If you miss our show, catch it on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube. Plenty on this Leaf Hour edition. Are we going to take the whole hour on the Leaf Hour edition?
I was thinking we could lead off with the Kitchener Rangers winning the OHL championship. Was that where we're going to start? Right
sure.
There? Okay, they swept the Barrie Colts. That's where we'll start,
just
right?
push that right to the back for just a minute, Sammy, because the Toronto Maple Leafs relieve head coach Craig Berube of his duties behind the bench. General manager John Chayka has kind of deemed it.
You're in a fist fight with that name.
We all are.
It's Chayka.
Chayka. What did I say?
No, you said
You're
right.
like Chay. Like you.
All right. Organizational. That's the one that's twisting me right now. Shift.
Shoulder surgery.
And a search for a fresh start. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee, Frank the Tank, Baraska, Derek Brandeo. All right, boys. Kind of got into this a lot yesterday. I'm certainly glad we did.
Yep.
A lot of it, for me anyways, was based on what I wrote in sportsnet.ca yesterday. And I did have a bit of a shift, a softening on Craig Berube. And it was really built around what was going on with Austin Matthews. And that's where I started to feel like something's not right. And I don't know in terms of what's next for Austin Matthews and how this affects him or his feeling of still being unsure out there. But we do know that Chayka and Matt Sundin had enough of whatever information they got, JB, over the course of 10 days, 12 days to make this decision.
Yeah. You know, Kip, I just feel like it had to happen. And I think, Chayka made it pretty clear that it wasn't, in his opinion, wasn't about Berube and, what he had done so much as they just need a fresh start here. And I know you're already, you don't like that piece of it. It is an insane thing to say. It's of course.
He's a great coach. He's blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And Austin's a prolific goal. Like, we all know that he won the Stanley Cup, but we also know they were horrific.
Yeah, real bad.
Right?
But
they were horrific under him. Yeah. And all the numbers that he probably revisited in the last 10 days as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I just felt like, I tried to do the role playing with you yesterday. Like, give me a reason why, you're not going to let go of this guy. And I just don't think there's a good answer aside from the GM saying, I'm looking out for my own job ahead of the team, or saying the people above me don't want me to do it, or all these things. You can't go into the year with that. So this, to me, had to happen. And so I honestly feel a little sense of relief from Leaf Nation, who it's almost like, okay, next year can be this kind of clean slate, first pick. Here we go. Some excitement now.
Sammy, nobody was more emotional over the belief that he could be staying than you.
Me?
Yes,
Oh,
you. Listen,
Yeah.
I don't want to, put dirt on Craig Berube here, but like there's a sense that you feel a lot better going into next season with a change.
I think like they had to make a change. And that's why I was so, whenever you would come in here and you were alluding to the fact that you weren't the only one. There's tons of people that are alluding to the fact that maybe he'd be back. And I didn't think that there was any way a serious organization could function in that way, especially with a new general manager who's preaching a different an organizational shift. You can't have an organizational shift if you keep the same head coach that was trying to win down the stretch and drove them into getting the first overall pick because they were so bad. Yeah. Like, there's part of me that's upset of the way it ended with Craig Berube because I was so excited about him coming here and I was just so excited about like the idea of what he was. And the first year was great. Like, they were the closest of anyone of beating the Florida Panthers, but it just fell apart. And a part of that's with Marner. You can talk about whatever you want, but it just fell apart. And this is the way it ended. I'm happy they did this. Relieved is the right word. I'm relieved that we're not going to have the conversations going into next year where it's like, well, maybe if they have off to a slow start, maybe they can let him go. It's just, I'm glad they did it.
Okay, let's hear from the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs on his opening statement today on Craig Berube fired today.
Thanks, everyone, for coming down. I know it was short notice. Appreciate you guys coming out. I just want to start off by thanking Craig Berube and his family for their contributions to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Got to spend some time with Craig. He's a great man, a very good coach. Did a lot of good things here. That's not lost on me. I told him myself I hope to lead with the same class and grace that he did in his time here. Moving forward, we felt like after reviewing the organization and spending some time in the facility and meeting with staff, we felt like this was the right decision on the path ahead. It was an organizational decision. It was not a verdict on Craig's coaching. I think it stands for itself. And we felt that this was the right decision at this time.
I don't think it stands for itself. It didn't go good. But anyway, the rest of that
It's
is all
okay.
very
He's
nice.
just
Nice message.
trying to be polite.
He said all the right things. I thought the line about class and grace was really nice. And everyone, to a man, no one has lost any respect for Craig Berube, who, still a very good person. But
Organizational shift.
organizational shift. I think
What does that mean to you guys?
A few other things I want to just put my finger on is, I do want to ask you if you think the fans had anything to do with this. There was a pretty big push in the last couple of days as rumors were that he was coming back. People were not happy with that. Do you think that they recognized that and saw it as a problem?
Yeah, I think there's a concern there for sure.
Like, you got to keep people engaged, and people were very frustrated at the idea of him coming back.
I mean, there's petitions.
Yeah,
that's never a good sign. When petitions start popping up in my mentions, it's not usually a good sign.
It's a challenge right now, and I think as an organization, in what has always been deemed like a bulletproof kind of recession-proof brand, it's probably taken the biggest hit I've seen. And I'm much older than you guys. Like, I can recall 70s, 80s, 90s, Toronto Maple Leafs, born and raised here. 88th player to ever play, born in Toronto, play for the Toronto Maple Leafs. There's not many of us.
Nope.
And they've taken a hit the last little while here. And yes, to your point, it is sensitive. And you want to keep season ticket holders engaged. You want to keep Bay Street engaged. They spend a lot of money down there.
Yeah.
Okay, a ton. They got to feel somewhat optimistic about the future. So yeah, to your point, yes, I do believe it played into some of this.
The one thing that we talked about yesterday too that I didn't like at the top of the show was the idea that they were going to talk to Austin, then make the decision.
They may have already done that or already had the information that they needed to make this decision.
Right. But you know what? The one thing I complained about during the tree living era was that they weren't proactive about anything. Everything was last minute, wait and see. This one, had they left it until they went to visit Austin, would have looked like Austin fired the coach. And they, by being proactive, they bail him out from having that perception.
Yeah, and Chaga did talk about the impact that maybe Matthews may have had. Clip 3, let's have a listen.
How much did Austin's future impact this decision, if at all?
None. Zero.
Okay. You're off the hook.
Yeah, I mean, you can't be naive about it too, JB.
I'm not.
Right?
I'm not for a second. I'm talking about perception.
Okay, yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
But I told you, we all know behind the scenes how it works with those star players.
Mm-hmm.
So
if he really wanted him here, he'd be here.
Well, it would be important to them.
Yeah.
That he's happy.
Yes.
And they've made it abundantly clear. We want him. We're going to build around him for our next push for the Stanley Cup, which again, when I spoke of buying time by keeping him, it was not the belief that he's been a great coach for them or he's just the guy that didn't have the right players. Like, I do believe that it was warranted. A change was warranted. The only reason I went with that, maybe they want to buy some time, is that it would have given them some time to assess where they are as a team in October, November, and December, and that's gone now. Chaika is going to get his next guy in there, and it is foot to the pedal. We got to win now. We got to get back into the playoffs now. You go and get your coach right now, and you give him a season of Sullivan in New York. A year later, that coach is going to be behind the 8 ball a little bit.
But Kip, he's prioritized the team here. Your thing is talking about his own job.
No, I'm talking about it.
You're talking about the game of Survivor. You're not talking about
I'm not talking
an
about Survivor. I'm talking about matching the team with the expectations.
But
and the process to get there.
Yeah.
There's a process to get there. You just can't just jump from being one of the worst teams in the league, in my opinion, with this lineup, with a lack of resources and draft picks and prospects, back into we're going to compete for the Stanley Cup as early as this year.
But if they think that he's not a very good coach, like next year making playoffs for the Leafs is like Philly or any of those teams who did it this year. If it happens, it's probably going to happen by a hair. And so you can't go into American Thanksgiving and go, this coach that we didn't think was great wasn't great. We're losing. We got no draft pick. We need to fire the coach and turn this thing around. If you think you want to turn it around, you got to be pedal down from day one. Like, this is the only chance they have to turn it around.
I still stand by, if you're going to get a coach now, I don't believe that it needs to be Bruce Cassidy. To me,
that's
fine.
Go
Go find your next Spencer Carberry.
David Carl, then?
Right? Maybe. But it might not be, it might not be the guy, might not be the head coach that eventually gets this team back into a serious contender for a Stanley Cup. You may now have to go 2 for John Chaika.
The average coaching tenure in the NHL is 2.3 years right now.
So I'd like to see a
that's
younger coach. I'd like to see a younger coach with less
Jeff Halpern.
with less pressure to come in and be the guy. I think they could learn a big lesson on Sullivan leaving Pittsburgh.
I agree.
And going to New York and understanding that this guy was considered one of the best coaches in the league, and yet if he doesn't have the horses, he's going to look really ordinary.
Totally. You know, that's, I remember some line about Al Arbor being asked how to be the best coach, and it was something like just be behind the bench with the best players, like get off the bus with the best players. It's pretty much all there is to it for some of these guys.
Chaika was asked today about on where he might go. Let's have a listen on clip 5.
I think respect for the process and the candidates. I don't want to get into that today. And it also always seems like then it means that Craig was missing something, which I don't think would be fair. But we'll have a thorough process. It'll be a wide search. We'll take our time, try to get it right. It's it's the most critical decision as a general manager.
So this is
thank God Chaika doesn't do Kippers Clippers like daily for us next year.
He is buttoned up.
But hey, if he comes out and says we want a guy who's XYZ, it's going to be the same thing that happened with the GM search here, where all of a sudden everyone was XYZ. They told them the answers they wanted to hear, and that was everyone's answer.
Yeah, he doesn't give you much, but it's calculated,
smart,
and it may be smart. Yeah, I'm with you.
Don't come out and say we want to.
I don't know. Maybe that's exactly what this town needs.
Yeah, I mean,
a guy that gives you
doesn't say nothing.
Nothing.
We don't listen. We feasted on DNA, and we'll have a plan, and Chaika goes up there like he's in a on trial and trying not to give anyone away.
Chaika's established himself real quick here as being a guy between Doan and Berube now, where it's like you're out, and I'm not wasting any time. To your point, and
treadmill's fast.
If I got to cut you off at the knees, I'm cutting you off at the knees, and I'm not feeling bad about it at all.
Totally.
We love our Jays Leafs parallels here. Like, there's not a worse press conference guy, maybe in all of sports, than Ross Atkins. Ross Atkins, the general manager of the Blue Jays.
They just don't want to listen.
He just doesn't say words. Like, he speaks in these sentences that are it's hard to understand what he's even talking about. It's so out there. So I don't think you need to have great press
But they
conferences
will.
to
Okay,
be good
so
at what you
everyone's
do.
like, cool.
But hold on for a second. Hold on for a second, because this stuff, like, there's no question between there's some feel good vibes right now, and I think you mentioned it today that you got the first pick overall, you got a fresh coach.
I mean,
coming
what a week
in.
and a half here, boys. It's been unbelievable.
Well,
Hot start.
I mean, what's that?
Hot
No,
start.
just like I'm thinking
Not a
of.
hot. Cole, can you guys calm down with it's a hot start?
What else
Hey,
could be better than what he's done in 10 days?
He fired a coach.
Yeah, he
Okay,
took
that's it.
picked the low-hanging fruit and won a lucky
they
lottery.
could have
It's been
hired
10 days.
Sammy as the general manager, and he could have fired Berube
I couldn't
and then
have-
got handed the first pick overall. And you be telling us Sammy's hot on fire right now?
I'm telling you that he would have gone in there, and if people above him said, we don't want to fire the coach, Sammy would have said, okay.
No, he wouldn't have.
And yes,
I
he
would
would
have been like, Craig, you're fired.
Chaika, give him credit. Like, this is, he
It's a win. It's a win
It's a
for
win.
him. No question about
I
that.
get your point.
But
That's low-hanging fruit.
I just,
I get
like, we got
I
to
know.
cool it a little bit
I'm
on
just
the,
saying
on
from
the he's
considering
hot right now
how
thing.
terrible the perception
But
was.
to
start.
Sammy's point with Ross, okay, it's okay that they're like this. And it's okay if they give you nothing because, to your point a little bit, the feeling is it's trending up a little bit. But talk to me in 2 months
Totally.
if the Jays are out of this thing by 20 games
Somehow only a
and
game and a
how
half back.
the fans will be okay with Ross giving them nothing.
We're going to need something.
It comes back and it's like, it's not enough anymore.
Kipper, I mean, not to disagree with you. I mean, he's been in charge here for 8 years, and they've had awful years, including 2024, and he still said nothing. He's never said anything. Mark Shapiro
he's
says
right,
way
the
more.
people
It's
hate it.
acceptable
Yeah.
when you're 1 inch away at the plate for the World
People-
Series, or if you're 20 games out
Why'd you do that?
of first place
Yeah, I
in end of August.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is he's consistent regardless of what they're doing.
I know, but the perception is different.
Totally.
Yeah,
Right?
fans hate it.
Yeah.
The one thing I think I'm coming to grips with a little bit more is like Lou Lamoriello's thing was like they weren't going to create their own. There's enough pitfalls and trapdoors and hurdles as an organization in Toronto that you're just going to run into them. You don't need to create your own, and Lamoriello didn't want to create their own. I think Chaika is more of that mold than maybe Tree Living was. Careful, measured, try to stay out of your own way. I can't speak to less leaks from the office or anything like that, but I think a little bit more cautious approach in a big market is probably the smarter way to play it.
Before we play another clip, I asked you guys, but you got into a different conversation. What does an organizational shift mean to you guys?
Well, I think when Tree came in, they thought they were grit and snot away from winning.
Okay.
And so
Yeah.
the shift was towards getting Joshua and Waugh and big bodies like that, and they were going to dump it more, and they were going to be more Florida Panthers. And the shift is now, boy, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not fun when we're not talented.
So they were okay. So
Yeah, and for me, it means absolutely nothing. It's just a fancy way of saying we're not
we're fired.
we're not telling you anything. We're not telling you a reason why. We're not telling you anything. It's just it makes them sound smart, and it keeps you kind of guessing.
I guess a
And-
good follow-up is what's the
and that's
shift
it.
towards?
And like, it's just a fancy way of saying I'm not telling you anything.
Okay.
Yeah, I do think that they are shifting away from grunt, though. Like, that was the focus the last couple of years, was we want to go get Sammy Blais on waivers.
Well,
You know?
I think
Sammy Blair.
I think it was clear that it was dump and chase, finish your checks,
Yeah.
and north-south, pucks to the net, and now
Simple.
it's not.
We just got to keep it simple. They do have a question here about how they want to play. Would that give us anything?
Why don't you be the judge?
Clip 6, please.
Yeah, I think that's a good discussion. I think regardless of who the coach is, we should have an organizational vision on how we play and the things we value, and then certainly through that process align on it. So again, I think it's best not to discuss all that today and not to bias the process. So we're going to have, like I said, a very wide and deep search, and there'll be people across all varying backgrounds and experiences, and through that we'll pick the right leader.
People aren't going to like this.
No.
People aren't going to like this, boys.
That one?
Just-
that.
Best
Well,
not
I
to
mean-
Word
discuss
salad?
all that
I mean,
today. And
vision and
alignment.
I know,
and
but
bias.
it's
and-
like
It's safe.
it's kind of like corporate
Yeah.
jargon.
kind of. Like,
Kind of?
No, it is.
1,000%.
It's okay. That's his style. Doesn't want to tip his hand. And at the end of the day, I'm not giving you guys anything.
It is very funny to be like, how do you want your team to play? And him to be like, I think it's important that we have a vision
And
for that.
alignment.
It's like, could you-
and alignment,
What is it?
and
It's horizontals.
it's okay.
Hopefully there's
as
some
long as
diagonals.
as long as it's trending up and there's a wave of energy that's starting to make people feel good, it's okay.
Yeah.
Just don't be like 9-20, at
Oh,
Christmas.
Talking about
That's all.
alignment, yeah.
And then no one wants to hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what's different though, Kip, is it kind of depends what they do this offseason in terms of what their goal is for next year. Like if they trade Matthews and have Misa and, whatever, another pick from San Jose or something, it'll be different. You can be 9-20. But if they go out and sign a bunch of 35-year-old free agents, you're making a very different statement, and depends who you hire. So I don't think it's clear yet that part. Which is it going to be?
I want you guys to listen to this clip. There's lots of questions about getting feedback on Berube from like the organization or whatever. There's lots of questions on that. But listen to this clip from him. Clip 7, please. On soliciting feedback from players. Clip 7.
Yeah, we did not solicit feedback from the players and the coaching staff at all. The only things I heard about Craig were they reemphasized just the type of person he is and how much they enjoyed being around him. As I know, that's been his credibility as a player and as a coach now. So that didn't weigh in at all.
Okay.
So
Did anybody follow up with, how about agents or parents?
But hold on. Didn't he? But listen to that clip.
Parents.
Huh?
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
What, the parents?
But, no, I'm just saying if you got any feedback from agents or parents.
Yeah.
But he contradicted himself in that. Play that clip again for us, Derek. 7.
Yeah, we did not solicit feedback from the players and the coaching staff at all. The only things I heard about Craig were they reemphasized just the type of person he is and how much they enjoyed being around him.
Isn't that feedback?
As I know,
Yeah, but it's not
that's
feedback
been
on
the
should we
player.
keep him or
his
get
credibility
rid
as
of
a
him.
player and as a coach
okay.
now.
We're splitting
Yeah.
hairs up here.
No.
Okay.
But like there's so many different ways to get feedback, through the players, but not through the players. And one of them are agents as well. They play a big part in this, guys.
Mm-hmm.
They, behind the scenes, man, and we're going to have Brian Lawton on, who's
Strings.
been a agent, Octagon. Maybe we'll ask him a little bit on his reflection on how involved agents would be and sometimes outside of contracts, like playing time
Yeah.
and getting guys traded or moved.
Yeah. I got to say, like, as much as we want to pick through all these quotes, I don't think this is a tough decision. I don't think there's like a golden nugget in here. It's like
I'm with you.
It's just
I'm
it
with
was
you.
time to start over.
Yeah, I know.
New GM, first pick, new coach. Let's go.
So, I mean, of the names that you're starting to see float out there, I guess we can kind of move to that conversation. We kind of mentioned a little bit, but like, is there a guy that you're going to go to bat for, or a guy that you think should do it? Like the Bruce Cassidy thing is obviously hot right now. People are mentioning Bruce Cassidy. There's the Edmonton story that's going around here. Specs talking about Knoblauch maybe not being around by the end of the day.
Today, yeah.
So, like, you said yesterday that you didn't think Bruce Cassidy would maybe not be the right fit at this point.
Yeah, that's me personally.
Yeah.
I think he's the kind of guy that can, in a short window, could get certain guys over the top.
Mm-hmm. You know what's really remarkable? How many coaches of that ilk get hired and immediately win a cup? Like before they've had time to like reach sort of like Daryl Sutter took over the Kings in 2012, I think, when they won.
Yeah.
And I want to say he took the Flames to the cup final in 2003 and joined just a year before. Dan Bilesma did it. Craig Berube, was he the head coach in St. Louis for long before they won the cup?
No,
I think it was like half
he
a
came-
year.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
he
it
came
was-
in quick.
Mike Yo, I think they fired him.
Yeah.
Brought him in.
Like I think there's
Yeah,
a
he
real
came in
trend
quick.
where some of these
You're
guys
right.
who are good guys,
Yeah.
good sort of like motivators, like you come in.
Mike Keenan did it in 1 year for us.
There you go. Like I think there is a real trend with those guys. And
But you got to know that you have at least enough horses.
Yeah, you're just not
to keep.
You're like, we know there's more there. We need to get it over the hump.
And this team, and even if we really, really look long and hard over the 10 years, right, where we thought that they were close, like how really close were they? We obviously talked about Mitch Marner and earlier in this week, but outside of that, it's like, did they really have a goaltender to get them to a conference final ever in 10 years? And is that kind of lost a little bit? And did they ever have a number one defenseman to try to win the Stanley Cup in the last 10 years?
Would have helped to draw Philly and Utah.
That never really comes into the equation when we're talking about who showed up and who didn't show up at the core four.
I'm more willing to have the defenseman conversation all day of the week as opposed to the goal. Like, I'm watching the goalies that are playing right now. It's like, it's
Jack
Alex,
Campbell.
it's Alex Lyon, it's Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, it's
Dostal.
Dostal. They're not household names like Carter Hart off the from wherever he came from playing.
But the difference is one of them may do it, and then the ones over the past 10 years never came close.
Well, no, I'm just saying that like matching up against, I don't know, Wall when he went in there, or Samsonov, or all these guys. Like, goalies, just unless you have one of the five guys, goalies are all interchangeable. The defenseman conversation is more one for me.
It's not that they're interchangeable or not. It's the ones who actually show up and deliver.
Sure.
And the Leafs never had that.
I mean, what are we doing here?
Right? No, I'm just saying, though, that's part of this. Do you have the horses? Do you have...
Of course.
Does the head coach have the horses to come in and win right away on this team?
I'm trying to back up your Cassidy point.
Yeah.
That this is probably not the group who needs is 3 months away from...
Manny Malhotra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, like, even if he comes in...
So you saw Carberry and you're like, get us the bald guy.
Maybe a bald guy. All right.
That's great analysis, boys.
We'll get him
coming from three well-feathered men here.
They were on the bench together, were they not? Carberry and Malhotra.
We'll get him a Clippers ad.
Brought to you by Great Clips.
Right. But to me, even if Malhotra comes in and if they miss the playoffs by chance next year, there could be some growth with him still.
Totally. And he's also having some success in the American League. He's been a head coach now.
The Leafs may draft his son.
Ooh.
First overall.
No,
when they trade Matthews to get the third overall pick.
Oh, now we're talking.
And they load up on all these picks and prospects.
I cannot imagine how electric our show will be if all this stuff happens. But I think the name that I've been seeing the most, to me, that's most interesting to me is Woodcroft.
Yeah,
that's the one where, like, I mean, let's play the clip 10 from Chaika on the experience part of it. Derek, clip 10.
So yeah, I think we're going to start very wide and talk to as many people as we can with the varying backgrounds. As a general point, I think certainly experience in the NHL in larger markets could be an asset and will be weighed, but I wouldn't discount anything at this time.
It will be weighed. Like me after Christmas, it will be weighed.
Woodcroft has been behind the bench of two superstars in McDavid and Draisaitl, been in a Canadian market that was hot. His record while he was there, you texted me it earlier today, is like 79 and 30 something. Like they won a pile of games. Didn't get it across the finish line in the playoffs, obviously.
He was 79-41 in 13 and 133 games in the regular season with them. Yeah. And that includes that horrendous start they got off to that ended up costing him his job at the start of 2 years ago when Knoblauch took over. I don't know. He runs the Ducks power play there, works under Quenneville, has experience in it. Seems like a more of a forward-thinking guy. Like I like the idea of Malhotra, but as your first head coaching job right away, like the experience factor to me does matter. I like Woodcroft. I don't know. We've had him on the show, Kipper.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, like
we have.
Sharp guy. Seems like a good talker. Need to do that in this market.
This is the version of like a newspaper
I'd like
endorsing a candidate here.
No, honestly, like
I'd like to see him get another crack.
We're talking about who could coach it. I'm giving you the opinion.
I like the Malhotra idea. I like Woodcroft. I like Halpern as an idea who hasn't been a head coach before.
No, but guess who's been tutoring him?
Tell me. Spencer Carberry. No, he's in Tampa Bay.
He was in Cooper.
Oh, he's a Coop guy.
He's a Coop guy.
Coop guy. That's right.
Okay, he's all Tampa.
Oh,
Listen.
What about Coop?
What about Coop?
Coop in 3 years or 4 years when they're
Who
really
can
ready.
replace Halpern when he
Yes.
when he gets the boot?
Yeah, exactly.
But no, there's good options. I mean, outside of the usual guys, the David Carl one does interest me too. I'll be honest. It's
I don't think you're pulling him out of. I don't know. He's probably making $4 or $5 million in college right now.
yeah, but it's not the NHL. It's pretty sweet, but it ain't the
He just goes there and
NHL.
he just wins every year.
He's
It's
so young now, and he's just like,
Yeah, strike while the iron's hot, man.
yeah. And I don't know. I
I bet you he's in the NHL next year.
I think the point, was it you that made it or you that made it? I think that makes a lot more sense if you're trading Matthews and trading Willie and like doing like the Marty St. Louis thing, where you're just kind of building these guys all up together and you're bringing Carl at the ground floor where there's no like, there's always going to be pressure here, but it's at the start of something. So I don't know. It's going to be fascinating, but who's your,
if I told you that the Leafs could have a future exactly like Montreal's if you gave up the next 3 years of making the playoffs, would you be okay with that?
3 is so many. I'd have a hard time with that.
Okay.
I believe we had someone in this room a week ago who said every season is precious with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Remember that? Shaika said that.
oh, he did say that?
Yeah.
Oh.
You're a good listener.
I forgot that too. I did listen. But
For the record, I'm a big fan of stability, and I'm not saying
Yeah.
every year you try to go all in. I do want to see what next year looks like. Last year was a disaster. Like, if you have a good offseason, I just want to see what it looks like before I make the decision, do I want to punt on 3?
Yeah.
Let's just take a look.
No, I totally agree.
We
Totally
should
agree. Oh, should we break?
All right, let's take a break.
Okay. Don't look at me. He said it. You all right over there?
Yeah, I'm good.
There's lots of thoughts going on, all right?
Was your phone blinding you again? Was it going?
Yeah. I got my backup phone.
Oh, okay.
You need,
Okay.
I need the Dubas pick.
Edward Rogers, if you're listening, he needs a new phone.
Plenty
Help him out.
more to come. Craig Berube once again out as head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Who's coming in? We'll discuss that further when we return to Real Kyper and Bourne.
Because my family lives in the big city, we always make an effort to get out into nature a little bit every summer. We're fortunate that I've got a buddy who has a cottage out in Grand Bend, so we try to soak in the sunsets out there for usually about a week each year. The kids love the beach and everyone loves the bonfire, and overall it's just nice to have a break from the usual routine. But we also love our little Toronto area home, and we're always looking for ways to improve it, and so last year we had an idea. We thought we'd try hosting on Airbnb, and with the extra income, we thought we might be able to take care of a few things around the house, including finally replacing a fence in the backyard. We had a great time with our pal AC, and the sunsets didn't disappoint, and it worked out perfectly. We were able to fix up the things we wanted to around the house, and someone got to stay in a pretty nice place in the heart of Toronto's East End, so it was a win-win all around. Your home might be worth more than you think. Find out how much at airbnb.ca/host.
Welcome back in studio. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. You guys ranking
Just checking
the top 5 picks right now?
The athletic ranking that has Chase Reed 1 and McKenna 4 and
McKenna
Stenberg
4.
5.
But isn't that like a
Smits
tier
and Bearhawk
situation?
ahead. Yeah, the 5 names
It
are in a
is-
tier 1 from Corey Pronman.
It is unusual that, like, as much as we think McKenna's number 1, it's not clear cut,
It is not consensus.
right? It's not clear cut, Sammy.
I'm in the business.
Sammy wants it to be. But
We're all in the business of clicks, and everybody's looking for clicks and all that stuff.
For the record, I don't get an extra nickel if anyone clicks anything I do.
well,
So.
but like people
whatever.
like to feel the clicks.
Okay.
So,
I think-
so everybody believes McKenna is undoubtedly number 1, but they're doing this for clicks. That's what you're telling us.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that the biggest fan base in the league loves to click. We're the king of clicking.
Oh, for sure.
And if you put out something that's a little bit different, a little bit controversial, people are going to. I just think Gavin McKenna is going to go first overall, and there's a lot of people talking about it. And if it was anybody else with the first overall pick, I don't think there would be this much consternation about it.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
I think he is projected to be the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, he's going to. I think he's going to go
I
first
bet
overall.
365, but there's
The Toronto
lots of
Maple Leafs.
people who don't think he should be,
Yeah.
Okay,
including our own Jason Bukala.
I know. We
You know,
we yelled at each other about it on the radio.
The feeling is he can't check a lick.
Like, legitimately, every sort of profile and projection for him I read is like, there are guys who are good who can't defend a lick, and maybe you could be Kucherov or whatever. And it's like, yeah, maybe.
He was
Better
on
have that offensive upside if you can't check.
going to college. The first half of his college season this year threw everybody off the scent. He had a historic season with the Medicine Hat Tigers, where he was not in his draft year, and it was in the year before his draft year, and he had 100 and whatever points, had an unbelievable playoff run. They go to the final. If he goes back to the dub this year, he has the season that Bedard had in his draft year, that Connor McDavid had in his draft year, that all these guys had in their draft year, where he scores 170 points. He's the best player in the country, and everybody falls all over themselves to be like, oh my God, he's the best guy. He's going to be number 1. Just because of the slow start at college, everybody forgot. Everyone just is like, oh, we got to give it to Stenberg because he's a good checker. It's like, this guy could be the 100-point guy. Just take him.
Is he generational?
No, I don't think that's the projection.
Okay, that was a projection on a few names that you just said.
But I think a big part of the reason.
But I also don't agree with that.
Okay.
I've seen people say that too, but like
have said it multiple times to you.
He went to a style of game where something in his game was exposed, and so now people are more aware of a weakness.
Where he was above a point a game player in college.
Listen, if he was perfect, he'd be number 1 on everyone's list.
I sometimes think, okay, what happens if he ends up being like Alex Lafreniere in New York?
Yeah,
Is that a major disappointment?
Of course it is. Of course it is. That's one of the, I like Lafreniere.
What if he was like Alexander Dagg? Like, you just pick out the worst possible first overall pick and make the name. You can say that. Like, that's just.
If it was my pick, Sam, I'd probably pick him.
Who would you pick?
I'd be afraid to miss out on the upside. The upside is crazy high.
I think he's incredibly gifted offensively, and that's the number 1 thing that we're going to focus on. Do I think if he's can handle somewhat of the physical element of the game, I think he could probably come in and spot duty with Austin and maybe score you 45, 50 points.
Yeah, that's great. And then next year, score you 90 points. I'm in.
Right. And then can he turn himself into Kyle Connor? Would that be... Kyle Connor's a pretty good player.
Yeah.
And very highly skilled.
I would anticipate that he's a better offensive player than Kyle Connor. That would be my anticipation.
Well, he's better passer. He's better. Like
his vision is Marner like Kucherov like.
Okay.
It's nuts.
What do you want to get with the first overall pick?
A franchise player.
You take the swing with the first overall pick. You don't be like, we got to get the guy who's a great. I can't wait for the Selke. You want a heart with the first overall pick. You don't want a Selke. And he has the upside that you can be a 100-point player. You're not trying to, I don't know. If Stenberg was a center, totally different conversation. And I would understand it. But they're both wingers. And I know he's good defensively. Blah, blah, blah. Like, just.
But you're trying to win next year too, right?
It's going to be a huge mistake to pass McKenna.
You're trying to win next year. That's
I do think part of what helps you to win is someone who could pass it to Austin Matthews, which obviously Marner's absence.
I think if he's got that type of vision, then Austin should probably feel okay.
Can I tell you?
But it's a long shot that this kid's going to come in and help me get back to 69 goals.
Can I tell you what makes me like him a little bit more? There's at least 2 or 3 junior highlights where he does something completely bonkers, like a 2-handed tomahawk slash on someone who's nowhere near the play, like a little temper outburst. And we know the bar fight. They haven't had someone who could even get there among their skill guys. Like Kucherov, I like that he's able to be like, I'm a grump and I'm whatever, but I will spear you in the neck if I'm upset. I like that.
I know, but you know what, JB? I've asked a number of people, and they think he's going to go knock people out on the ice like he did at the bar. It's not happening.
No.
It's the opposite.
Yes.
They say he's soft.
Yeah.
Right? He's a soft player. There's not an ounce of, it's all skill. There's not an element of, I'm going to punch you out.
But I still,
like I did in the bar.
I do still like that as he becomes a man, that element is within him. You know, I don't know. I don't know how that's going to translate.
I mean, I just don't think we should sit here and talk yourselves out of the potential super duper star.
But what are we going to do for 2 hours?
Well, no, but like, it's just, would we be doing this if the Flames had the first overall pick?
Listen, no, we wouldn't be talking about it.
We'd be saying, they're taking McKenna.
No, when you got different people saying different things about the top 5, you're saying it everywhere, Sammy.
And
it's not just a Toronto thing.
And you're the guy at the draft right now who's booing the draft pick when you've never seen the other players. Like, we don't know.
Yeah.
All we know is the people who watch all the time are not in consensus. So the accusation is then that these people don't believe that he's the 5th best guy. They think he's number 1, but they're going to put him 5.
I'm not accusing.
You think they're all dishonest? Do you think Books is fudging it?
Listen, I've made my point very clear. That's
a name you recognize, so you want it.
Yeah, that's it. That pass on the guy that had the junior upside of all the best Canadian players. Pass on him. I dare you. Pass on him.
Here's the last thing I'll say about this, okay?
Chaika, if you're listening, listen to Justin Bourne and pass on him so you can get the guy who gets the Selke.
I said I wouldn't. Your logic is bad.
But I'm going even past Semberg. And I'm like,
let's get to Albert Schmitz in here. That'll be good.
This organization hasn't had a first-team All-Star on the blue line since Boreas Salming.
Yeah.
Okay? And they've tried the unbelievable skilled guys with the top 5, the top 7, wherever Nylander ended up. Like, here's your chance to maybe, I don't know, Chase Reed. Is he Cale McCarrish?
Doesn't sound like he defends a ton either.
No, I think.
Oh my God!
You know what they should definitely do is they should first overall with the first overall pick, the Toronto Maple Leafs select Albert Schmitz out of Germany because he's got good defensive metrics. Well, Gavin McKenna goes to the San Jose Sharks and scores 120 points a year with Macklin Celebrini. We all talk about how they passed on him.
I hope we have the show in a decade.
The defensemen, they play 30 minutes a night.
Yeah.
Okay, the good ones play 30 minutes a night. The top forwards play.
I still think
two-thirds of that.
Scoring is the hardest thing in the game, and so that's why I still lean McKenna. But it is concerning that these people are not aligned.
Okay. Did he mention about going to see Austin?
He did. But, okay. Let's do any more plans to meet with Austin. Clip 12, please.
Not more solidified. We've had conversations. I think, again, it was important for me to get, a good lay of the land in terms of our internal workings and what we had in place here. And that way we could have like a really informed discussion. And, I wanted to make sure that we had, again, all the knowledge we could possibly have. So when we sit down, we can have the best discussion.
But no feedback on Berube.
But they talked. But
But he didn't solicit feedback.
What were they talking
He
about?
also didn't specify that he didn't get feedback. He said he didn't solicit feedback.
Like, could you get me a tea time at True North? Like, what were they talking about?
So are we
That's not to discuss all that today. And
we are still left with Chris Johnson's report that he is yet to commit to returning to Toronto next season. Are we still there?
I would say that the way the Berube thing played out has people skeptical of that.
Okay, but it's still out there.
For sure, and yet to be refuted.
So you had said this kind of takes Austin off the hook a little bit.
Yeah.
But so are we going to be left with June, July, and August and not hear from Austin and just have this last report, the last thing that we know, and nobody coming back and saying, no, I'm good now and I'm committed?
No, I've got him off the hook for the Berube thing. I don't have him off the hook. Like, you need some sort of inclination about what he intends to do.
So hold on for a second. You have him off the hook for Berube.
For having...
So if he comes out tomorrow and says, I'm totally committed to the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Uh-huh.
That doesn't kind of look a little strange to you?
Listen, they didn't put him in a spot where they made him wear it.
Kyper,
right?
you're just being, we get it. You think that Matthews has said fire Berube. That's what you think.
All I know is there's a pretty reputable report out there from a guy that's pretty reputable that says he's not committed to returning next year. Okay. I'm like, am I the only one going, what the hell is that?
Yeah. To me, this was your Messier leaning on getting a new coach. Like, this is potentially him leaning on it.
So somebody come out and commit this guy for next season, please.
Well, I don't know that no one knows that it's Berube's enough. I don't think there's an answer for what exactly he's looking for, but I think you want to take to him all the things you hope he's after. Do I think you want Berube back? Absolutely not. But I'm saying perception-wise, you can't say that he did it. They said they didn't even talk to him.
So I'm not going there. Okay, I'm not going there. We can speculate all we want, but I just
you sure are.
We've been doing it for an hour.
I just need somebody to say
he's in.
He's in.
Totally.
That's all.
Yes.
Is that too much to ask?
Apparently. No, I think that would be great.
For Leaf fans, that their captain and their future statue outside the building is coming back and he's committed?
If he wakes up on July 4th this year, that's a pretty big day in the U.S., as I recall, and the Leafs have, all of a sudden they have Mintyukov and McTavish out of Anaheim. I don't know how they did it, but I'm just saying, if they have some new bodies in here and they signed Radish and whatever, and he goes, okay, I think we're going to be good. It's different than if nothing has happened from now till then, and he goes, I don't see how we're going to be any different. And is that not what you think he wants here? That the team is going to be competitive?
I think maybe he just wants to go somewhere else.
If he just wants
really
out,
like holding
say it.
I also don't like him kind of holding like this hostage.
Nobody does.
Okay,
Everyone hates.
I would say every message I've gotten about Matthews over the past 5 days has been like, not real pleased with how this is going.
I would agree with that sentiment. Get a lot of that.
Like, that's
how I feel too.
And the longer it goes unaddressed, the worse it's going to get.
Agreed.
Yep.
But maybe they don't care and they just want good players in, but they probably should care. Not great to have everyone mad.
A lot of people should care.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe this will change.
Well, maybe if he gets to play alongside Albert Schmitz, he will be like, I got to stay here. I got to stay in Toronto.
Kip told us he doesn't care about the number one overall pick.
Schmitty now. We're good to go.
I can't wait till Albert Schmitz wins a Norris Trophy in 4 years or something. And
listen, the amount of stuff I've said on this show that have just been dead wrong, that's the way it goes. Talk for 2 hours every day. You're going to have some misses, boys.
Got to take some swings.
I think there's pressure, to Sam's point, a little bit from people like Sammy.
On Matthews.
No, taking McKenna.
Yeah, and I think that's a bad reason to do it. You better get it right. You can't worry about that.
I know, but there's a ton of pressure.
Yeah, I think that's actually a tiebreaker, is what I think. I think if it's, all right, it does feel like they're not going to take Stenberg, doesn't it? Am I out of my mind here? Like, everything either seems like take a D or take McKenna.
We'd all point to Matt Sundin on that one if they took him. Would we not?
Yeah.
I mean, he's been involved with a Swedish program for the last little while. He must know him, the family. He's got he should have better insight on him than anyone else.
The way that he said his name when they asked him about him, I was like, oh God. It's like, oh, boy. He knows him. Uh-oh.
Well, he also called him
we need somebody to be like, oh, Gavin Bod. We need somebody to say it like that. We'll see. But good arguing.
Yeah, always is. Well,
nice to have
new
that
day.
problem.
New day, new coach coming
Sammy's
in.
feeling good, though.
When do we think that this is going to happen? How long do we have? I want to know when they're going to hire someone else. We have clip 9 about when you want to have a person in place.
No timeline. I mean, certainly, there's key milestones that are coming up, and so certainly, running an efficient process matters. But like I said, we're going to take our time and do a very wide search and talk to a lot of people, and ultimately, how that goes and the quality of the candidates that we come at the time we do will dictate a lot of that.
They'll have one by the draft.
Think so?
Yeah.
Okay. I do want to mention that Pronman, whose list we were just talking about, his mock draft, who he thinks who will take who, he has Gavin McKenna 1.
Good.
Leafs.
Corey, you're right. Good job. Nailed it.
That Chase Reed, 6'3", 195, shoots at the net a whole bunch.
But they're
Defender,
already
right shot.
ordering jerseys like crazy.
Yeah, some guy DM me. He's like, hey, you want to put up a jersey in the studio to McKenna?
We got a 72?
But I'm like, when he's drafted, maybe.
Yeah, otherwise it's a tough look for the show.
Yeah. I just find it I see guys going to the Sabres game where I'm like, it's just a little much. And we can be happy, but we don't need to throw it in people's face.
Look at the size of these D, Sammy. Chase Reed, 6'3", Albert Smith, 6'3", Keaton Verhoff, 6'4".
D1 seasons in the CHL, points per game. Gavin McKenna, 2.30. Sidney Crosby, 2.29. John Tavares, 2.0.
Oh,
Connor McDavid,
hey,
1.77.
Sam's breaking to us that Gavin McKenna gets points. Well, now that we know he gets points, this changes everything.
Well, maybe they should run back what they had last year. That was fun. No points. No skill.
Are you out a little early?
Oh, yeah. We got U11 select tryouts. 6 p.m.
You're not going to leave me just with Sammy alone in this room, are you?
I got a fill-in coming. Surprise guest.
Do you?
Waiting outside the studio.
Good, because I could strangle him if it's just the two of us.
Every day.
That'd be a long day.
Also, Brian Lawton, former National Hockey Leaguer, agent, executive.
Because my family lives in the big city, we always make an effort to get out into nature a little bit every summer. We're fortunate that I've got a buddy who has a cottage out in Grand Bend, so we try to soak in the sunsets out there for usually about a week each year. The kids love the beach and everyone loves the bonfire, and overall it's just nice to have a break from the usual routine. But we also love our little Toronto area home, and we're always looking for ways to improve it, and so last year we had an idea. We thought we'd try hosting on Airbnb, and with the extra income, we thought we might be able to take care of a few things around the house, including finally replacing a fence in the backyard. We had a great time with our pal AC, and the sunsets didn't disappoint, and it worked out perfectly. We were able to fix up the things we wanted to around the house, and someone got to stay in a pretty nice place in the heart of Toronto's East End, so it was a win-win all around. Your home might be worth more than you think. Find out how much at airbnb.ca/host.
Real Kyper and Bourne Show. Justin Bourne.
Gone.
For Gord Stellick. Straight up.
I hope you like the deal. Nothing against Justin.
I'm calling for Freddie Charles in the deal. You know who Freddie Charles is?
No.
Future considerations.
Oh, okay. We called it something else.
It took me about 2 years
Jeez.
in pro hockey to understand.
Freddie Charles, future could, yeah.
I never heard that either.
Yeah, future. It means nothing.
We are live on Sportsnet. Sportsnet 650 in Vancouver, 960 in Calgary, and streaming always on Sportsnet Plus. If you can't catch our show, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, where we always appreciate the chat. And I'm asking them for a big thumbs up for you, Gord Stellick, for joining us.
Well, I appreciate it. So I guess Justin's got, a hockey tryout or whatever it is? Or doing,
yeah, he does.
Or is he on assignment? We're saying he's on assignment.
He's really starting to get more into the hockey stuff with his boy.
Yes.
I can see it in his eyes. He's pretty excited about it.
He's working on the left wing lock with him in the neutral zone.
He's going to scout the next Ivar Stenberg.
You were a pretty sane hockey parent, right? I seem to think, right?
Yeah,
I think you were.
I wanted to sit at the top row with my coffee and just be kind of left alone a little bit. And then the kids would start losing like 4-0. And they'd look at me and go, "Can you fix that? What are you doing? Go and help them."
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, let me just have my coffee.
Yeah. I would just say, look, the teams I manage were usually down 4-0. So I don't, you're asking the wrong guy. Go bug Kyper over there.
This hour of Real Kyper and Bourne brought to you by Bet365. In a few minutes, we'll welcome in a former NHL agent, general manager, broadcaster, Brian Lawton. You've had him on your show numerous times.
Yeah. Well-versed and well-plugged in and everything.
I think we'll have some great insight on the recent firing in Toronto and maybe one pending with the Edmonton Oilers. Nothing official yet, Sammy?
Nothing official. Specs alluding to it on X that it could potentially happen by the end of the day today, but we'll see what happens.
In the meantime, Gord, let's get your thoughts on surprised or not surprised, because I certainly started out thinking that there was a chance that Craig Berube would be behind the bench come September, October, but clearly after 10 days, John Chaika and Matt Sundin felt differently.
Yeah. What do you think Matt's did or just Chaika? I don't know. Anyway, however they're making it work. So I thought he was gone. I think he thought he was gone. And then that press conference, which was kind of convoluted in a lot of ways, it seemed like there was a real glimmer of hope if you're Craig Berube and you wanted to come back. So I don't think that was the case. I don't know if you call it due diligence. I don't know if you call it just appearances that you talk to the coach, whether you went through the motions or whatever you want to call it, then he just wasn't his guy. And so, no, not surprised. And very curious, like everyone's assuming Bruce Cassidy's the guy that Edmonton wants, that Toronto wants, that Los Angeles may want, like whatever. But all they kept talking about was database. And I don't know, I've been connecting more with coaches, like who are the coaches that are databased, right? Because you know the story in Chicago, Joe Quenneville and company, they won 3 Stanley Cups. And when they got whatever data they were given, they threw out. They were given data suggesting what lines to put together and whatever. I'm not saying that's the way you should go about it. So I'm curious, well, is that Bruce Cassidy or are we going to get a complete unknown?
Would you like to see a Bruce Cassidy? And let's just speculate now because his name's been linked to the Edmonton Oilers. I'll get your thoughts on that separately. But for now, let's just finish off just a quick thought on the Leafs in terms of, are the Leafs ready for a Bruce Cassidy, in your opinion?
I don't know if he's the right, no, because that's kind of what Craig Berube was in a lot of ways. And the other, you don't want a repeat of when Kyle Dubas got the job and Mike Babcock was the coach and all this stuff that Keith Pelly and John Jacob were talking about, whether it's the symmetry or the vertical, horizontal connection, whatever whatever it may be. I mean, he's got to be, let's them say, they got to be aligned with the general manager. So, and the general, they did not want a retread general manager. That's not a slight at other general managers. Chaika had been out of it for 6 years, so he was viewed a little bit differently. I think they found him more enlightened, whatever. So, I'm curious to see what he's thinking.
You got anything for us, Sammy, over there?
I I still think that the Leafs could be good with Cassidy. I just don't know if they're going to win the cup with
Win the cup.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think he wants to win the cup, and I think the Oilers are closer to that.
Cassidy wants. to win. Even I've gotten off that hobby horse, man.
No. I mean, the cup is.
You're trying to get respectable.
I just mean if your Cassidy comes in here, I think the Leafs will be a better team under Cassidy with whatever moves they make in the offseason. If they hired him, they would definitely be in the conversation for a playoff team. I think that'd be fine. I don't think they're going to win the cup, but if he wanted to do it, he could go to Edmonton and maybe win the cup there, right? Like, I think that's the difference. That's probably why he wants to go there. I think
he would think he's
got a better chance there.
Yeah.
So
just two of the best players in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my thought on Cassidy.
Well, how much when you've won a cup? You want to win more. Don't get me wrong, but when you've won a cup as a coach or a player, like that, that gives you a different perspective when you're an unrestricted free agent as a coach or a player and looking at a destination.
Yeah. Honestly, it's like having children, right? You got one. You want another one, I'm telling you, it's like, and you love them differently, but the same, but you want more. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
Right. And you're here for a short time, not with your wife and kids.
You're talking about life and everyone. Is this philosophical
here?
I'm just saying that.
Am I not looking well?
It's like having kids. It's like if you're in, you're in, right?
Yeah.
And if you're a family guy and you go for it, and no different for Stanley Cups. I thought we were going to get our second Stanley Cup in '94 when we beat Quebec when they were ranked 1 and we were 8th in the conference. And when we beat them, I'm like, holy geez, back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. Would that be the coolest thing in the world? And then poof, done.
Yeah.
Swept by the Flyers. But I think if you're looking at both lineups in Toronto and Edmonton, clearly everybody believes Edmonton's a lot closer, and I think Cassidy would feel the same way.
Yeah, just what an unusual 48 hours. I mean, you're talking about Edmonton, and then all of a sudden Toronto makes the change.
Let me ask you.
Vancouver's still up in the air.
And we're going to have another general manager, former general manager. You were general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs. How often are you shopping for a new head coach without firing your old NHL coach? How often does that leak if it does happen? How much do you run a risk of it happening? Is it common even back then when you were GM?
Yeah, because you always had a plan there. It wasn't like you woke up one morning and go, okay, got to fire Nick Kypreos. Who's can give me the directory and I'll start phoning people. So you have people in mind, and that's where asking permission. I mean, optically, I'm sure Edmonton didn't want this to get out, but asking permission, maybe exploring the other options you have if you want to make a move. So I think at the end of the season, it's got a little bit more bite, right? Because you're evaluating your thinking and whatever's going in the bigger picture during the season. You got to kind of be on who may be available in a hurry.
Okay. As promised, let's welcome in former NHL player agent, general manager Brian Lawton, and a regular on our program. Lots, how are you, my friend?
It's not that often I show up on your show and you don't know about it till the last minute.
Just talking about that process in Edmonton where the information leaked out. Were people actually surprised that you go after somebody else before you fire a head coach? Did people have the assumption that you fire somebody and then hire somebody quickly after that? Give me your idea in your era of being a general manager.
I think as far as the general public goes, they're not aware how many times, these things happen. What's uncomfortable about it is when people find out. It's not great optics, but it does happen. From Stan Bowman's perspective, you got to find out, you got to figure out what's out there. Not everybody has a coach in their back pocket. Sometimes when you're managing, and Gord knows this, you have people that would work well in your organization, but they may not be available. In this case here, it's hard to ignore the noise from the season. If you're a general manager, it's quite well documented that several times and this is the world we're living in now, but several times those issues about the coaching had kind of indirectly been raised. So I can't imagine if you're Stan Bowman, you also weren't aware of this. So then you have to figure out, where do you go from here? Not a ton of guys available out there right now that I think people would have as that A+ coach. Bruce Cassidy would be one of those people. But what really threw this off is that you always wonder, how do people hear or find out about this? As a general manager, Gord, you call, in this case, Kelly McCrimmon, maybe George McPhee, either one of those guys would be fine. And you ask for permission. And that's, the start of it. You then want to get it in writing. You're then going to have a conversation about, does it make sense to, for the team that's letting this person go, kind of predetermine what you would pay them. There's just a lot more that goes into this than people think. But in this particular case, it's never ideal when other people find out about everything that a hockey operations department is doing.
Yeah, because optically, Vegas isn't thrilled. Edmonton's not thrilled. And in Kris Knoblauch's case, Brian, you look at it that, okay, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl have very articulated quite well and calmly many times over, it's not good enough. And I think a lot of us thought, okay, well, it can't be the coach because he was Connor McDavid's coach in junior. But obviously, it's got to include the coaches. And if you're Edmonton, you can't go Kris Knoblauch one more time, that kind. It is time for a Bruce Cassidy. It's time for a Pete DeBoer, but he's gone to the island. I don't know. Is that the way you look at it? If they're going to move on the coach, it's got to be a Bruce Cassidy type?
I think it has to be somebody that has a lot of cachet. If I'm thinking about logically about, how you're connecting the dots. And if my memory serves me correctly, Connor did not win in junior with Kris as his coach. I don't know what that means. And you can correct me if I'm wrong. Anybody on the show.
No, you're correct.
Oshawa Generals beat him.
Yeah, I'm very certain that didn't happen. So I don't know what that means, though. I just mean that I heard a couple of times, players being pretty vocal, which is not, necessarily standard operating procedure. You've never heard, certain players that have as much cachet, certainly as Connor or Leon, to ever talk about it. And I think, in looking at it and looking at the season, I'd say they were frustrated. These guys have been knocking on the door. They're right there. Whenever you get in those scenarios, you feel like you're going to break through the next chance you get. And when it doesn't happen, it's disappointing.
You are watching and listening to Brian Lawton, former NHL player, agent, general manager, in studio here with Gord Stellick and Sammy McKee. Are we all under the impression now that with this recent leakage of news, Frank Saravelli reporting that Vegas, not using denied, I'm using, what's the word, Sammy?
Withholding
permission.
Withheld permission, yes.
Semantics battle.
Withholding permission.
Yeah, which is the same as denying.
With that news coming out, are we all in agreement that it's very difficult for Kris Knoblauch to ever walk again into a dressing room as a head coach of the Edmonton Oilers?
It certainly, makes it more challenging. I would say this, though. I wasn't quite sure what really transpired. I know that permission wasn't given, but it's not uncommon for clubs when you ask and they're in the playoffs to say, hey, look, can you wait a hot second? We're still playing. That's our main focus. We're not saying yes. We're not saying no. We're just asking you if you can wait. So to me, that seems like the most likely thing that may have happened, but I don't know that. It's only speculation. So in terms of Kris Knoblauch, Kipper, you've been a player. It's not an ideal situation.
No, it's not. It's not. Okay, I'll throw this out to the both of you. Cassidy's in a pretty good spot right now.
Mm-hmm.
LA, Toronto, and I'm going to say Edmonton right now. Where's the best fit for him? Gord,
Okay, well,
I'll start with you.
I think it's Edmonton, and also when it goes to you, Brian, what I'm curious about, because I just with Craig Berube getting fired today, that the sense is okay. Leaf fans think, oh, they're going to jumping on because Bruce Cassidy's out there. The talk's out there. Peter DeBoer's gone. We got to get Bruce Cassidy, but that one press conference that, like I said, was a little all over the place, but they kept on message that we're going to be a data-driven organization. And I've connected with a lot of coaches, ex-coach. I'm trying to think, who are the data coaches? And they're going, well, there's some young guys. Like, I don't, so I'm just saying, like, I mean, can they say all that? Can John Chayka come in and talk about that and set up whatever this connectivity they want to have, this consistency with philosophy? And does Bruce Cassidy suit that, Brian?
I actually think Bruce does in having conversations with him, but really how I read that, Gord, is that they're looking for somebody younger, somebody who maybe is a little bit more controllable, which can be good, but it's not what I believe in. You got to find somebody that, these guys are your field general. They need to make tough decisions under pressure. As far as being data-driven, anybody can be data-driven. It's just a matter of whether or not you accept or believe in it. I can tell you guys from fact that when Dave Tippett was in Arizona, I was staying at his house during the season, and he wanted me to look at some data. Now, this was a while ago, so I have to be careful in how I frame this. The data was not nearly as good, but what I saw for a coach was a very low value. I'll be honest with you. But that was quite a while ago. So that's not fair to hang that on John Chayka. That may have been the best information he could come up with at that time, but I didn't find it particularly helpful. I would think in today's world, with the new puck and player tracking system, that, the data that you can get is incredible. The ways that you use it are different for every organization. And clearly, some organizations are doing better than others with how they inject that, embed that into their decision-making process on player evaluations. We're going to see more of an emphasis now on coaching. I don't think it'll translate as well as it does for player evaluations into coaching.
Lots. It's been well documented. 2 years from now, who becomes an unrestricted free agent? And we've got 3 of them in Canada. Connor McDavid, Austin Matthews, and Brady Tkachuk.
Yeah.
They got 2 years on their contracts, but can you explain why it kind of only feels like 1 year? Like, my point is, Lots, can they get to this point next summer with no decisions on their future?
It's very funny because you hear a lot of people comment on this, Kyper, and you heard about, there was people commenting, when they were vying for the Toronto general manager's job, which I was not. But I always pay attention to this stuff because I find it fascinating, and some people end up, basically saying what they would do. And, the consensus was that you must know, and the player must tell you this information. That's absolutely not true. You can ask the player, but it's up to him whether or not he wants to entertain that conversation or not. You'd think it's in your best interest. Mitch Marner just went through this, and I don't know. I didn't see any, a lot of people think you can go in there and just demand that the player tell you what they want to do or where they want to go. And as we're finding out right now with no move clauses, teams are handicapped in this area. And this is going to kind of be the precipice of it, as you see some of these elite players that start to do maybe what players haven't done in the past, which isn't, players generally have tried to stay with their original team. That may be changing in this new world. I'll be fascinated to see how it plays out, but you definitely want to know, to your point, Kyper, but you don't really have a mechanism to drive a definitive answer.
So you mentioned the flip side of it, because all these guys are American guys that re-up to stay in Canada, okay? And so the Quinn Hughes model, though, Is that the new model? And how much is very sensitive now in Canada, how much it is the greener pastures, or is it, I didn't sign up for this version of the Vancouver Canucks. I didn't sign up for the Edmonton Oilers version if we're a year from now there, or I didn't sign up Austin Matthews' case what the Toronto Maple Leafs are right now. So sure, they can't be forced, but there's got to be, I think Quinn Hughes signified a different way of thinking from I'm here for the long term.
Yeah, I haven't asked Quinn this. I was at their game the other night. Quinn was pretty amazing, I must say, as was Brock Faber, but they did not win. Colorado was more amazing. In terms of Quinn's, it was kind of my understanding that he had made it known how he felt. And I'm sure, even though it's not the news you want, as a general manager, you just want to know what you're marching towards. I always have kind of one rule with this type of stuff as a former agent. No answer is an answer. Because you have to figure out the path forward. In Quinn's case, I think he was clear that he wasn't going to re-sign. You'd have to ask Jimmy Rutherford to clarify that. I certainly took that to be by his quotes. And he made the best decision he could. Is that going to work out to be a decent deal for him? Well, you have to kind of measure it against the alternative. He stays and then he walks, and then you get absolutely zero for him. So by that metric, he hit a grand slam. By another metric of, you don't get time a lot of, in the NHL, it's very rare that you have time in order to make some of these pressurized critical decisions. Whenever you do, I like to default to use it because it doesn't happen all the time. I thought that was, kind of cutting things off at the pass to your point, Kipper. Do you want to know earlier so you can make a decision? Yes, you want to know earlier. You don't know if you're going to make the right decision. You want to try to, I look at like Cutter Gauthier, playing in Anaheim. Some things didn't work out there, and he got moved pretty quickly. I know they felt like they made a good deal in Philly. That's one where it kind of shows my example. I would have been more patient personally, or that would have been my thinking. So, these are really challenging issues for general managers, Gordon. You know this.
Gord, I'll ask this to you as well, because you were a general manager, as are Brian Lawton here, and you played both sides as an agent. A lot of speculation, especially on our show, especially by me, in terms of the star players and the power that they have right now in terms of maybe having some influence on maybe a coach either being fired or hired, trades. Like, tell me about, like, when you guys were in that position, how much you leaned on the feedback. John Chayka said there was no feedback on players, and he included Austin particularly on this. But there's also this floating report out there that he's not committed to returning next year. And how does this all kind of play out when it comes to star players like Connor McDavid moving forward on the next head coach? I'll let you go first, Lots.
Sure. In my opinion, you always want to have, in today's world, it's just different, Nick. You and I, nobody asked you and I what we thought ever.
No, especially me. Especially me.
Yeah. Now, we weren't, star players or even the type of guys that would generally get that clout. But even so, you could go pretty far up the lineup, and very few players knew what was going on. It's not an indictment. It's just recognition of the changes in society. A lot of these players, that are playing today, they're incredible players. They're having great careers. They just grew up differently than we did. We were more of the do-what-you're-told generation. This generation now, and a lot of this dovetails into the coaching and all the things that are going on with organizations, it has to do with earning respect from the players, because they'll ask you what's going on. And we're seeing, some potentially extreme events in that regard. Connor McDavid, Austin Matthews, the list is long. Zach Werenski is going to be a free agent in a couple of years. Like, these are the types of players that not only are going to ask, but they're going to get answers. And, Sid has been a great ambassador for the game, and Ovi for that matter as well. That's the kind of generation preceding this one. And you really never heard of those guys. As a matter of fact, having some players on that team when I was an agent and knowing lots of Sid's teammates, Sid is like the perfect player to have on your team. He's going to work hard. He's going to support what the organization's doing. But deep down, I never got the feeling that he wanted to have any say in how it was run. I think that's changing a little bit in today's world.
Yeah, I'd characterize it as slippery slope, Kippy. If you engage in that, there's a lot that can go awry. And Brian, even in the different era, the role of the player agent is usually the guy that can piss and moan to the general manager. That generally was it, right? And actually, the general manager, generally in the older era, would stick it back down your throat, but would hang up the phone and go, okay, he's making a good point. And then when another agent jumped, you start saying, okay, I'm understanding. I'm getting the vibe. Okay, right, Brian? That's what I got by and large.
Did you piss and moan to Brian Burke a lot?
Berkey and I had one disagreement on RJ Umberger. We both have laughed about it. The world was different then. Like Kipper, I've told you before, when I sold my small representation firm, I did it with the intent of wanting to have more support every week if I was going to continue to be an agent, because it was literally the law of the jungle. Kill or be killed. I don't want to insult anybody in the military, but it felt like that. Everybody was trying to give it to everyone, and a lot of it came down to your overall leverage. For me, the answer for that was quite simply selling my firm, but it came with a very funny caveat that I really have never talked about, and that was that, yes, you have to buy my firm. And, I eventually went from my own firm to Advantage, which is Octagon Hockey today. But you also must give me up to $10 million so I can grow this firm quickly. And that's exactly what we did, to be honest with you. For the very reason I'm citing is I wanted to have a little more cover so that we could handle negotiations a little smoother. So if someone really tried to give it to me, they knew they were going to see me. They might get me on Tuesday, but I'll be back on Thursday with somebody else. And it's really in everybody's best interest to keep this a little more civil. And it worked for the most part. Berkey and I had a disagreement. That was more philosophical. Berkey was great. Dave Nonis was great to deal with. I love dealing with those guys because they're straight shooters. And you could yell and scream at Berkey, and he'd yell and scream back at you. And then it was over. It was like a hockey fight. You could go have a beer with the guy you just fought. It was just business. So there's a lot to unpack there. Players now are clearly, in my opinion, more involved. If you're not understanding that, it could be problematic. It's hard for me to imagine that, these star players aren't watching what organizations are doing, particularly in times of change of coaches, GMs, presidents, you name it, whatever's going on. Players are paying attention more than ever. And the few guys that can drive things, I think they're going to exercise those rights.
Be remiss to let you go without asking you about the Minnesota Wild and Colorado. You are in Minnesota. Certainly, they're doing everything they can to beat the crap out of Colorado. I'm just not sure that they eventually can catch them enough to beat them.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about, you had these quality teams in Dallas, Minnesota, and Colorado, playing themselves early in the playoffs, playing their opponents early. I don't really take any offense to that. That's more random. The league had a goal when they started this program, so I've always been okay with that. But as far as the quality of Minnesota and Colorado, they're both so elite. That could easily be a final. Being at that game the other night, I did something I don't do that often, and I went and I sat down below in the stands. And I used to do it once in a while in Tampa, but not a lot, just to get a feel for how fast the game is and really how hard players are working. Minnesota came out and absolutely finished every check, pounded the Colorado Avalanche. They bent, but they did not break. And they don't necessarily have some of the toughness. It's not even size. Minnesota is a very tough team, but Colorado took it all, responded, ended up winning a game where Wallstat was sensational. They just never quit. Their special or superpower to me in terms of Colorado is obviously their elite skill, but it's really their quickness as a team. They're a very, very quick team. And although Minnesota was playing an intimidating physical style, Colorado countered with just taking away time and space from Minnesota. And at one point, I'm sitting down below and I look up at the shot clock and it's 20-4. And yet I think Minnesota is effectively, running out their game plan. So that had to be tough for them, but they've got a great team. That series isn't over. But going back to Colorado, for any athlete that's ever done that or played there, spent time there, it's just an advantage that we don't talk enough about. It's really hard to go into Colorado and play at that altitude and not feel a little different. So we'll see how that one is out, but super impressed with both teams. Off the charts. That was one of the best playoff games I've seen all year this year.
It all gets going at 8 p.m. Eastern on Sportsnet, Minnesota and Colorado. Lots. Thanks for doing this, pal. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Kyper. Great to see you, Gord.
Likewise, Brian.
Brian Lawton, NHL player, agent, does a terrific job covering the game.
Game time.
Game time, baby.
It's game time presented by Bet365, an official partner of the NHL, must be 19 plus, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. Just looking at the futures here for the remaining teams in the Stanley Cup playoffs, who the favorites are to win the cup. As you would imagine, Colorado is the favorite, even though they're not through to the next round yet. They're at plus 145. Carolina is at plus 150. The next closest team is the Vegas Golden Knights at plus 650. Montreal and Buffalo both at 12-1, and the Minnesota Wild 40-1. Anaheim Ducks all the way down at 50-1. Find that interesting that Minnesota's down 3-1, and they think that they have a better chance than the Anaheim Ducks are only down 3-2. On the ice tonight, like you mentioned there, Colorado, huge favorites against the Minnesota Wild, minus 225 on the money line. Minnesota plus 185. Bet365 thinks this game and this series is going to be over tonight. That was Game Time, presented by Bet365, an official partner of the NHL, must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. And a reminder, this hour of Real Kyper and Bourne is brought to you by Bet365.
All right, nice job, Sammy.
Thanks, man.
We'll take a quick break. When we return, plenty to get into as the Vancouver Canucks found their next hockey operations / general manager.
Maybe we should mention the Habs, too.
Okay.
Well, I mean, we've done an hour and a half. We haven't mentioned it.
Well, we'll get into the Habs.
Is their general manager in peril?
The one that got away last night in Montreal for the Habs. We've got a Calder Trophy winner. We've got a fine in the NHL. Plenty more, Gordo.
Yep.
On the Real Kyper and
Sounds
Gordo
good.
show. Back after these words.
Because my family lives in the big city, we always make an effort to get out into nature a little bit every summer. We're fortunate that I've got a buddy who has a cottage out in Grand Bend, so we try to soak in the sunsets out there for usually about a week each year. The kids love the beach and everyone loves the bonfire, and overall it's just nice to have a break from the usual routine. But we also love our little Toronto area home, and we're always looking for ways to improve it, and so last year we had an idea. We thought we'd try hosting on Airbnb, and with the extra income, we thought we might be able to take care of a few things around the house, including finally replacing a fence in the backyard. We had a great time with our pal AC, and the sunsets didn't disappoint, and it worked out perfectly. We were able to fix up the things we wanted to around the house, and someone got to stay in a pretty nice place in the heart of Toronto's East End, so it was a win-win all around. Your home might be worth more than you think. Find out how much at airbnb.ca/host.
Kypreos, Gord Stellick, and for Justin Bourne on assignment with his kid at a hockey tryout. And our very own Sammy McKee.
Time now for the accurate performance matchup. Premium. Only one game on the ice tonight, and it is Game 5 between the Colorado Avalanche and the Minnesota Wild. Many in Colorado trying to extend their season. A few stats heading into this game tonight. Nathan MacKinnon enters Wednesday 2 points shy of his 5th career 10-point playoff series. He can become the second player in Avalanche/Nordiques history to record a double-digit total in 5 series following who? Who's the other only guy to do it? Pretty easy answer.
Okay, listen to me.
Joe Sakic. You were listening. It's Joe Sakic.
No, I'm not listening. You know me by now.
Anyways.
Did you listen?
No, he didn't listen.
No.
No, neither of them listen. Nobody listens to me around here. Quinn Hughes can become the second fastest American defenseman in NHL history to 15 points in a postseason behind
Brian Leach.
Bingo!
Yes.
There we go. Okay.
Paying attention.
The Avalanche can join the Hurricanes as the second team to advance to the conference final in 9 or fewer games. The 2026 playoff, they can be the second in NHL history to feature multiple teams to achieve that feat after the Flyers and Red Wings in 1995. So these are two dominant teams that haven't done this in a long time. And the Avalanche on an all-time record of 14-2 when leading a best-of-7 series 3-1, including 10-2 when starting at home. Colorado has gone on to win the series in each of the past 7 scenarios. And that was the Acura Performance Matchup, the 2026 Acura MDX Precisely Premium, also known as Kipper not listening to me.
Yeah, I've been caught a few times this past week on not listening, Gord.
No, well, we're focusing, getting ready for
We
it.
are.
A lot to talk about.
Before we get into maybe the Montreal Canadiens lost last night to Buffalo, am I allowed to ask you about you had a sleepover?
Yeah.
You had a
I should
sleepover.
show you the GIF. Yeah.
Was it like a play date?
Well, it was, a modern-day play date
with Brian Burke.
Our good friend Brian Burke invited myself and Joe Bowen to the last Friday, the Buffalo-Montreal game.
Yeah.
And then we met Dwayne Rollison there. He hosted
Did he come over for sleepover too?
No, Bowen was supposed to, and then he forgot that he had a dance recital, hopefully for his granddaughter, not for himself.
Yeah.
But he had a dance recital. So anyway, I arrived at Berkey's and Odie's place first in the afternoon, and Bowen was about 5 minutes behind. And I say it with love. It's kind of like Green Acres. He's like Oliver Wendell Douglas. It's 50 acres, whatever. So anyway, we were there. It's a neat little place. And then he drove us to the game.
Yeah.
He was pissed that I don't have Nexus, right? They kept bugging me. So we were in the longer line going through. Yeah. Sorry. And then we went to the game. People recognize to varying degrees, but I went to he's treated with a lot of respect there, which is nice. And that we sat in the seats. I've not sat in the seats for a playoff game, I think, in my life. And then we drove back.
Yeah.
Bowen went home, and I stayed up with Berkey and Odie till about 2:30. It was like we didn't.
Did you guys put pajamas on?
We told ghost stories and some popcorn. I brought a guitar out and we started singing.
Does Berkey have John Tavares pajamas?
No, everything was on. We were a little casual though. I can't remember the fashion thing, but it was very, very relaxing. So we chatted about everything in the world, and then got up Saturday. I bought him breakfast. It's the least I could do, and I drove back. So
it sounds like an annual thing now.
Well, it could be Berkey's World for 24 hours. I had a really good time, and I appreciated his generosity.
Awesome, bud. All right, Sammy.
Habitant?
Yeah. Should Montreal be up 3-1 right now? They only had how many power play opportunities? Some of the dumbest penalties I've seen a team take.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. I thought that there was some pretty brutal embellishment in the first period for the Habs. Thought there was a few flops, including the cross check on who was it that went into the boards. I mean, if you dove on that one, I thought there was a few dives.
That was
Gooley
on Thompson.
Yeah, it's there were some obvious high sticks, which are always a penalty. But I thought
first of all, Gooley's not going into the boards that hard on an embellishment. No,
I thought there's some dives.
That was okay. How about the 10-minute? Was it 10 minutes between?
More than that, with the two reviews.
2 reviews.
They got it right, though.
They got it right. But, Gord,
you think
we just can't We just can't stop a game and just stare at a monitor for 10 minutes.
Okay, but you want to
we?
get it right. So
Can we
you
not
say,
get it
okay,
right
rush
really
it up and get it
Can
wrong.
we get it faster? Can we
Okay,
get it
that's
right faster?
always the quest, and I can't speak for why it may not have been faster. We know there were 2 separate reviews, obviously, which took the time. So, yeah, but use the technology. And ever since that Schmazel and the San Jose Vegas game, the whole Joe Pavelski thing, now they can call the major review those kinds. Like I mean, we have it all at home now. So why should you not try to get it right when we all know we may have differing opinions how we interpret it if we're fans? But I don't know, Sammy, you think it was right? They made the calls right?
What, did you not like the goaltender interference?
I thought at first it was, and then I kind of watched it a few times and listen to what Lindy Ruff had to say. Let's go to Derek. Let's go to Lindy Ruff, clip 1, and his sort of explanation on it.
It can do a lot because there was a lot of elements that went the other way. The review where we get the goal, the review where they take it away, which I totally disagree with. Just for the fact that Dobesh always is swinging his stick. He initiated the contact with Hellenis with his stick coming across the crease, and I thought Hellenis did a great job of trying to avoid the goaltender. Their guy ends up hitting the goaltender, so I really thought that was going our way. And I know that's my opinion. But a great play by the kid, and just a tough review on us.
I think.
Yeah, I didn't see it, and then I kind of saw it at the end.
Stick out, and I don't know,
No, I think after
you just can't be in that area.
Yeah, stay
That's
out
all.
of it. They're
Well,
kind
then-
of saying
then
after the
make it-
after the Mallenstein thing, whatever. The whole emphasis has been protecting goalies the last few years, whether you agree with it or disagree with it.
Well, then bring
So-
back the Brett Hall rule because that's just what
but,
it is.
but there isn't the Brett Hall rule. You go by the rules of
it's-
2026.
but it's for me, it's less about protecting them and just they need space to make a save,
That's their turf,
right? It's their area.
Yeah, which is kind of the Brett Hall rule. To your point,
Wait, that's
but
what I mean. It's just if you can't, like, he sticks his stick out and it makes contact with
Oh
the
my
guy.
I get the heebie-jeebies if I think about toe in the crease.
Well, that's
Yeah.
what we have.
Yeah.
If there's any contact at all, we have to sit
no,
there.
you can still put you can be a foot in the crease and shovel a puck in the net, and it can count.
The only way that, like, if you want to get rid of these reviews that are, there's tons of gray area and, like, is it or is it
Why
not?
do you want to get rid of them?
Well, because that's what Kyper was just saying. It takes too long.
Well, no, there's 2 different things. We have the technology for the reviews.
Yeah, that's
Let's
just
get
me
it
whining
right.
a little bit.
But
It's
always about trying to, and they want to too. Obviously, that's their goal as well. And so it doesn't always work that way. But I still think it's more important to get it right.
Buffalo got away with one. I think there's not a real sense that they've got momentum now. Is there, based on a win that
Well, I'll tell you,
feels
Kip,
like they were lucky to come out with?
well, I think 2 things. One is game number 1. We forget Buffalo was doing what Montreal did. They were
Yeah.
coming hard. Their D's got 9 goals, right? Buffalo's D. They were jumping in the play real well. Then Montreal kind of took that game and did a better games 2 and 3. I think the one element that Buffalo can relax or is good for them is very seldom does a goalie steal a series. And one more Jakub Dobish performance like that
totally.
would be in the heads of Buffalo. So at least that part, it's not going to be Yaroslav Halak like right now. So I don't know. I really do. I really think it's toss up. A big win for Buffalo.
Who knew the key to beating him was throwing it off the Zamboni door and into the
Yeah,
net?
that's right.
I mean,
that
that's-
should be home ice advantage.
It felt
You
like
know
the
that.
turning point of the game. It felt like
Yeah,
that goes in. You're like, oh God,
That
can you
was-
win a game when that
was
happens?
a gift.
A gift.
Well,
Just a big
I got a lot of
ribbon.
people text me, what's a stanchion? Right? They're just watching the playoffs, right? They don't know what's going on. Now, when you were with the
The
Leafs,
seamless glass.
I know, but when you were with the Leafs,
Remember that?
did you bounce the boards off the Mr. Sub sign? Remember that? That
Mr.
was the play?
Sub sign.
Yeah,
Yes.
behind there. It
Yeah.
was the one you hit. It came out in front, and Glenn Anderson or Dave Anderchuk or something. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
There's some soft spots that you could find
the
out.
older arenas.
fast.
There's
Detroit
some
had the
dead.
same thing, and, yeah.
There's an area on the boards that were dead. So if
Yeah.
you knew if you dumped it in, you were going to just paste the defenseman
Oh, because the puck's just
because
died
it had
there.
to
Yeah.
die there, right?
That's
Good old
unreal.
days.
There's no chance.
That's unreal. I love
All right, Vancouver, imminent, isn't it, for Ryan
Yeah.
Johnson?
Yeah, well, Elliot Friedman had thought maybe as early as today. Now, he brought up a thing like the Sedins have been doing different roles for 10 years. And I say that with all due respect, okay? Like whatever it may be, it seems like an ever-changing. And one of the things, Elliott brought up, not as fact, but one of the notions out there. Like, it seems like they'll hire the general manager from within, but that Matt Sundin's reporting to Keith Pelly, or excuse me, reporting to John Chayka, barely, but he is reporting. Chayka has the final say that the Sedins could be co-presidents, okay? So I don't know. I sit back, wait to hear the organizational reconfiguration. The belief is they're going to get a more prominent role. I think you've heard that as well. And, man, was it 3 years ago? Edmonton, Toronto, Winnipeg, Vancouver, relatively legitimate Stanley Cup chances, right? Relatively.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, and here's where we sit watching lottery balls to see which one could get the award for finishing the worst.
It'll
you
be
had a
interesting.
tweet last night, didn't you? About
I had heard that it was going to happen really soon. Within like 24 hours, or day of, or next day, sort of thing. So, we'll see where the Sedins lie in all of this. I think it's kind of a copycat league a little bit. They probably watched Matt Sundin senior advisor role and now feel like they got to announce something more for the Sedins.
But get it structured properly. Like, I mean, the Trevor Linden presidency, like there's different presidencies, right? And it seemed like he was sort of more a corporate president, right? Versus guys like Luc Robitaille or Cam Neely that have more teeth in their respective roles. So, but it's funny because Jim Rutherford fired the general manager and then kind of publicly surprised everyone announcing he was stepping down. So I'm sure internally they were on this, but
he essentially fired two people then.
Yes. Yes, he did. Yeah. Patrick Alvin saying, could I not, anyway, could I not have been a chance for it or let the other guy fire me like Berube?
Calder Cup trophy, no surprise.
Yeah.
Schaefer.
Calder, is it
Calder trophy? What did I say? Calder Cup?
Yeah, Calder
That's what I won in 1988.
Yeah, that's a tough trophy to win. It's like the Stanley Cup.
And we were 12-0.
Yeah, I remember that.
Really?
Yeah, we went undefeated.
Yeah.
But there was only 3 rounds.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But still pretty amazing that Carolina's like 8-0, and I know it's kind of like
it's a journey.
They played the Flyers, which, was fairly easy.
So you forget other guys like, Beckett Seneca's a hell of a player too. Like there are other
5 goals.
There are other young players besides Schaefer. You know what I mean? Like there's some other quality young players, but for a defenseman to enter the league like that, I mean, Rasmus Dahlin took some time as a number 1 overall pick. Owen Power's still taking time, as a number 1 overall pick, and this guy to come and did what he did last year was something special.
Speaking,
I don't. Did you see any of him? Because he did it on Good Morning America.
I did not.
This kid is just like class person. Like he's just like he is a real gift to the league. Just affable, classy,
awesome,
like awesome on the ice. Like he's like one of the future faces of the league.
Yeah. So should the Leafs build around a defenseman or a winger?
Well, boy, this goes back to when Mark Hunter he wanted to build around defense way back when. John Chayka, I think, acknowledged about we need some defensemen. That's what he said, and it's understood. So, but I think the crowd is so hepped up about the number 1 overall pick. Don't you dare move it down and get a defenseman. But they need a little bit of everything right now. That's when you're picking that high. Same with Vancouver. Anybody else? Like you need a few things. But your number 1 need is defense. The top 2 players are wingers.
You think Chayka be tempted to turn it into 2 or 3 pieces if he moves down 1 spot?
Yeah.
Well, and then people talk about San Jose. So will they give you that pick and Michael Misa, for example? I don't know. Just throwing it out there. So all of a sudden you got for Austin Matthews. Again, we're talking. Yes. And again, all of a sudden, by the way, Austin Matthews doesn't play for you. That's a huge loss, okay? It just seems everyone's being flippant. I mean, Mitch Marner was a huge loss.
Yeah.
Nick Ehlers was a huge loss. It's not, but it's just, there's so many different ways he can go about it. I have no idea what kind of dance partners he has or doesn't.
Let's take McKenna.
Yeah. But it's just not clear cut. You wish it was a Schaefer.
Well, you hope it's not Lafreniere, that kind of draft, right?
Ooh, we mentioned his name.
Yeah,
we mentioned his name.
this is so easy to do. You just go back and look at it. Oh, I hope it's not Nail Yakupov. What if it's a good guy? Can we just do it both ways? There's a lot of great first overall picks, but everyone is just saying, what if it's the worst possible outcome? Yeah, that would suck. But the other side of it's pretty good too.
It's just not the wow factor, okay? And he very well could be the wow guy. And then you're looking where Vancouver's sitting or other teams, and you're reminded about Cale Makar and Quinn Hughes and where they were picked, 3, 4, 5, 6 certain players. So it's when you don't have a good season and you hang on your draft pick, it's the one positive bone you get.
If I had a sleepover, would you come?
I would, yes, it'd be less driving. I don't know where you live right now, so but your place is probably, honest to God, Berkey, you got to make a right at the tractor, and then Sam Drucker's general store, whatever.
He's living at Yellowstone
And then
Ranch.
there were the 3 girls from Petticoat Junction, in the water tower, and then you find his
off
place.
their Dante's Fiesta. Oh, we could order in.
That would be
Gord.
nice. I would.
Hey, thanks for doing this today,
Hey,
pal.
my pleasure, Kipper.
All right,
Thanks,
Sammy, where are you headed right
Go to
now?
the Jays game, boys. Watch another fat L.
Bring us a win,
And
would
no,
you?
they're gonna lose. They always lose.
Our thanks to Brian Lawton joining us at the top of the hour. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you tomorrow on The Real Kyper and Bourne Show.